This wasn't just a football match, it was a battlefield. On December 9th, 2022, the World Cup quarterfinal between Argentina and the Netherlands spiraled into absolute chaos. 19 cards, a bench-clearing brawl, and Lionel Messi, usually the calmest player on the pitch, showing a side of him the world had never seen, cursing out an opponent live on TV. The GOATs turned into a cold-blooded warrior. The referee lost control, players lost their minds, and history was made with the dirtiest game ever played in a FIFA tournament. A match so heated and personal that it broke a Guinness World Record and ignited one of the greatest feuds in World Cup history. But this story didn't start in 2022. This rivalry had been simmering for over 40 years, and by the time these two sides met in Lusail, the hatred had finally reached its boiling point. Louis van Gaal's pre-match comments, which Messi deemed disrespectful, only added more fuel to the fire. This is the story of how one football match became the most violent, controversial, and unforgettable game in World Cup history. To understand why this match was so heated, you have to go back decades. Argentina and Netherlands have a history, and that history is filled with heartbreak, revenge, and unfinished business. These two teams have faced each other in several FIFA World Cup matches over the years, and their encounters have been intense every single time. Their encounters include the group stage in 1974, the final in 78, the quarterfinal in 98, the group stage in 2006, the semi-final in 2014, and most recently, the quarterfinal in 2022. The 1978 World Cup is where the rivalry began, and you could say it's where the hate started. Hosted by Argentina, the tournament was shrouded in controversy, with allegations of political pressure and favoritism toward the home team. The final, played in Buenos Aires, was a tense and dramatic affair. Argentina triumphed 3-1 after extra time, crushing the Netherlands' dream of winning their first World Cup trophy. The Dutch felt hard done by, and the loss left a bitter taste, fueling a sense of injustice. This fiery encounter laid the foundation for decades of competitive tension between these two footballing giants. 2 decades later, in 1998, the Netherlands got their revenge. In the dying moments of the quarterfinal clash, Dennis Bergkamp scored one of the greatest goals in World Cup history, knocking Argentina out of the tournament and giving the Dutch the payback they had waited 20 years for. Then came 2014. The two teams met again in the semifinals, and this time the Argentines had the last laugh. The match ended goalless, but Argentina triumphed in the penalty shootout, once again crushing Dutch dreams on football's biggest stage. The man coaching the Netherlands that night was Louis van Gaal. He retired in 2019, but when the 2022 World Cup came around, he returned for one last dance, one last shot at the trophy he had never won. The Netherlands had a stellar start to the tournament, outperforming Argentina in the group stage. They topped their group undefeated, while Argentina suffered a shocking loss to Saudi Arabia at their opening match. Heading into the quarterfinals, the Dutch were riding a 19-game unbeaten streak and seemed unstoppable. This momentum may have fueled their confidence, leading to some bold pre-match comments. Louis van Gaal declared, "We've got a score to settle with Argentina for what happened 2 World Cups ago." But his most controversial remark was calling Lionel Messi Argentina's weak link. This didn't sit well with the Argentines, who take immense pride in their captain. Van Gaal had poked the bear. His words added fuel to the fire, ensuring Argentina entered the match with a point to prove. The match was officiated by Mateo Laos, a now retired Spanish referee infamous for his no-nonsense approach and quickness to brandish cards. The opening 10 minutes were tense, with both teams creating chances but maintaining a solid defensive discipline, preventing any breakthroughs. In the 10th minute, Messi set up Acuna, but the fullback's cross failed to find a teammate in the box. Moments later, a precise pass from Timber to Steven Bergwijn was swiftly intercepted by Emi Martínez, who rushed out to claim the ball. Around the 21st minute, Messi fired a shot wide from outside the box, followed by Bergwijn doing the same shortly after in the 23rd minute. For the next 30 minutes, the teams were evenly matched, and it was clear that something extraordinary would be needed to break the deadlock. That moment came in the 34th minute when Lionel Messi delivered an astonishing, defense-splitting pass, one of the most jaw-dropping assists in World Cup history. Nahuel Molina latched onto it and slotted it home, putting Argentina ahead. Little did we know Messi was just getting started, and more unforgettable moments were yet to come. Despite the growing tension, the first half remained relatively controlled, with only one yellow card shown to Argentina's assistant coach Walter Samuel. But that peace wouldn't last. Just before halftime, things started to boil over. Marcos Acuna fouled Denzel Dumfries, and Dutch defender Jurgen Timber shoved him in retaliation. Referee Mateo Laus immediately pulled out his yellow card and booked both players. Moments later, Christian Romero handled the ball and was also shown a yellow. Then, on the Dutch bench, Wout van Horst, who hadn't even stepped onto the pitch yet, somehow got himself booked as well for dissent. The match was getting heated. The halftime whistle blew, but that short break did nothing to calm things down. The second half was about to explode. Argentina came out of the break and was still in control. Early in the second half, Dumfries and Van Dijk combined to foul Messi just outside the box, conceding a dangerous free kick opportunity for Argentina. Messi's free kick effort narrowly missed, grazing the crossbar. Then, in the 70th minute, Acuna was fouled by Dumfries at the edge of the penalty area, prompting the referee to award Argentina a penalty. Messi stepped up and calmly converted, extending Argentina's lead to 2-0. After celebrating with his teammates, Messi turned toward the Netherlands bench, cupping his ears in Van Gaal's direction, a gesture rich with meaning. This celebration was a nod to Juan Román Riquelme, one of Messi's idols, who had famously done the same to Van Gaal after scoring. Van Gaal had sidelined Riquelme during their time together at Barcelona, nearly derailing the Argentine's career. Messi's celebration was a clear response to Van Gaal's pre-match comments, a moment of poetic justice. With Argentina now 2 goals up, Messi thought the game was sealed, but his celebration seemed to ignite a fire in the Dutch camp. Van Gaal made a bold move, substituting Memphis Depay for the towering 6'6" forward Weghorst. Just before the change, a cross into Argentina's box led to a scuffle, resulting in cards for Memphis Depay and Lionel Martínez. However, this was just the beginning of the chaos. Far more drama was yet to unfold in this fiery encounter. Once Weghorst entered the fray, Van Gaal abandoned intricate build-up play and instructed his team to deliver crosses to the 6'6" striker with a strong aerial presence. The strategy paid off almost instantly. 5 minutes after coming on, Weghorst connected with a pinpoint cross from Berghuis, pulling one back for the Netherlands in the 83rd minute. This goal changed the game and shifted the momentum, and this is where the real battle started. The Dutch pushed aggressively for an equalizer, while Argentina grew visibly tense, desperate to protect their narrow lead. In the 85th minute, Steven Berghuis came close, hitting the side netting before earning a yellow card for a foul on Messi moments later. Then, in the 88th minute, the game exploded into chaos. Paredes fouled Ake, and in a moment of frustration, booted the ball straight into the Netherlands bench. The Dutch players erupted, storming toward Paredes, and the Argentines rushed to defend their teammates. A full-blown brawl broke out, perhaps one of the most intense scenes ever witnessed in a World Cup match. Players tussled, tension soared, and yellow cards flew, starting with Paredes and Scaloni. Laos struggled to retain control, but this was far from the end of the drama. The referee's notebook still had plenty of entries to come. Longer stoppage time had been a recurring theme throughout this World Cup, and this match was no exception. When the board went up, signaling 10 additional minutes, everyone watching knew this chaotic, high-stakes clash still had more drama to deliver. And sure enough, it did. In those final moments, Nicolas Otamendi and Lionel Messi found themselves in the referee's book, but the biggest twist was yet to come. The Netherlands won a free kick just outside the Argentine box with seconds left on the clock. Everyone expected a thunderous strike, a desperate last attempt to force extra time, but instead, the Dutch pulled off one of the most ingenious set-piece routines in World Cup history. Rather than going for power, two coke miners played a clever low pass to the Argentine wall, finding Wout Weghorst, who turned and slotted the ball into the net. The stadium erupted. Against all odds, the Netherlands had equalized at the last second, capping off one of the most dramatic comebacks of the tournament. But the craziness of this match wasn't over yet. As the game moved into extra time, the tension remained sky high, though both teams approached it with a bit more caution. No one wanted to be the one to make the mistake that could cost their team everything. Argentina, however, looked the more dangerous side. Sensing an opportunity to push for the win, Lionel Scaloni made an attacking charge, bringing on Angel Di Maria for Emi Martínez. The Albiceleste piled on the pressure, creating wave after wave of chances. Lautaro Martinez saw one shot blocked by Virgil van Dijk and another brilliantly saved by Andries Noppert. Di Maria nearly scored directly from a corner, while Messi came agonizingly close with a few efforts that narrowly missed the target. The closest Argentina came to sealing the game before penalties was when Enzo Fernandez struck a fierce shot that rattled the post in the dying moments of extra time. And while the football was tense, the aggression didn't fade. The bad blood between the two teams carried over into extra time, and tempers still running high and tackles flying in. 2 more yellow cards were brandished, but that was still not all. There was more to come. The outcome had to be determined by penalties, but unlike most straightforward penalty shootouts, this one was anything but ordinary. This was a spectacle that refused to stop delivering twists. It was the Emi Martínez show. He turned the shootout into his personal stage. Using every psychological trick in his arsenal, he rattled the Dutch players before they even struck ball. His mind games worked to perfection as he saved the Netherlands' first 2 penalties, giving Argentina an early advantage. The pressure mounted when Enzo Fernandez missed his attempt, momentarily giving the Dutch hope, but Martinez had already done enough damage. By the time Lautaro Martinez stepped up to take Argentina's final penalty, the Dutch players desperately tried to throw him off, but their antics backfired spectacularly. Denzel Dumfries managed to pick up 2 yellow cards in the span of a minute, earning a red card during a penalty shootout, something almost unheard of in World Cup history. With that, the tally of bookings in the match reached 19, setting a Guinness World Record for the most yellow cards ever handed out in a FIFA tournament game. If there was ever a match that would be called the most brutal and emotionally charged in World Cup history, this was it. But after Lautaro buried the winning penalty, the chaos didn't stop. After the final penalty, Nicolas Otamendi immediately turned to the Netherlands players and cupped his ears in celebration, adding insult to injury. Messi, still fired up, had a heated exchange with Louis van Gaal, while Emi Martínez took things a step further, openly insulting the Dutch coach. In the post-match interview, the drama continued. Messi, catching sight of Wout Weghorst standing nearby, delivered what would become one of the most iconic quotes of the tournament. ¿Qué miras, bobo? What are you looking at, fool?
Un poco caliente por el final. ¿Qué mira, bobo? ¿Qué mira, bobo? Anda para allá, bobo.
That single line exploded across social media, instantly becoming a meme, a catchphrase, and yet another reminder of how fiery this battle had been.